Welcome, I'm Rabbi Phil Bressler of Beit Am in Corvallis, Oregon, and this is the daily summary video for the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Yomi Daily Halacha Learning Project, covering the passage from Siman 85 Seif 4 to Siman 86 Seif 5. You can find links to the Hebrew and English text of this passage and to the calendar of upcoming passages in this video's description. If you're jumping in right here, it's important that you listen to my explanation of this chapter in yesterday's video. We're going to continue talking for today about what happens when a fire breaks out on Shabbat. So the neighbors around the house where a fire has broken out, the presumption is that because they're still a degree removed from the conflagration, they're going to have their wits about them a little bit more, and therefore they're permitted to rescue any and all objects that are permitted for them to carry on Shabbat, and to take them to a place where they're permitted to carry them. The Kitzur notes that there are some opinions that even allow you to carry things like money, which would otherwise be forbidden to handle on Shabbat because it is muktzeh, a principle we'll talk about in a few days, because of that emergency situation and the possibility of a significant loss if you don't rescue it. Sifrei Kodesh, sacred books, so Torahs, Tanakhs, Chumashim, Sidurim, copies of Mishnah, Talmud, Halacha, Zohar, all sorts of things like that. They are an exception. You can carry them out into your yard or an alleyway. You can even have a non-Jew carry them for you into a public domain. Things that otherwise would be prohibited, you can do with Sifrei Kodesh because of the emergency. The bags and cases that Sifrei Kodesh and other holy objects like tefillin come in and are stored in, those can come along with as well. And of course, a Sefer Torah, the actual Torah Scroll itself, gets top priority. You may have seen news reports sometime every now and then there's tragically a synagogue fire, and you'll almost always see someone carrying the Torah Scroll. That's the first thing to be rescued. I think people probably take some risks with Torah Scrolls that they may not be supposed to take, because as noted, though, the bottom line is always that if someone is directly in danger, their life comes first. So that means don't go back in to rescue your Torah Scroll. Ultimately, your life comes first. And when a fire breaks out on Shabbat and people are in danger, life comes first. And it doesn't matter who they are, whether they're Jewish or non-Jewish. Put out the fire to save lives, and don't desecrate Shabbat if it just means saving some valuables. The next siman, number 86, talks about bathing on Shabbat. You're supposed to feel good on Shabbat, but bathing presents an issue first and foremost with warming up water. The bare minimum, therefore, when it comes to bathing, is only allowed with water that was preheated before Shabbat on Friday. You can wash your face, hands, feet only, not a full bath, not even limb by limb. Bathing in naturally warm water, springs, is mostly fine though. And cold baths, theoretically okay, but don't dry off near a heat source like an oven or something. That's apparently just the same as bathing in warm water from the Kitzur's perspective. And even this is a little dicey because there's danger of wringing out your hair. You got to let it air dry, a towel and air dry only. Unfortunately, this does mean there's no swimming on Shabbat, which is a bummer because that's something a lot of folks do for pleasure. Of course, it is fun and you should do fun activities on the Sabbath, but there are a lot of associated issues and worries and things that might come up, or that you might come close to doing, including tossing water droplets farther than into domains where they shouldn't be, carrying your swimming supplies, all sorts of things. So even though bathing in cold water is not itself problematic, there's a lot around that could be an issue, and that's why generally the custom is no swimming or bathing much at all on Shabbat. That's all for today. As always, our learning is dedicated to Rabbi Shlomo Gansfried, the author of the Kitzur, and the historic Jewish community of Uzhhorod, Ukraine. We'll see you tomorrow.